Recently, an accident had occurred in this area involving a train that carrying a large amount of sulfuric acid. According to a train driver, the train passed the Aglo lake, which is this lake as you can see, suddenly derailed past and fell, causing a large amount of sulfuric acid spillage. From that, we know this lake was already acidic and polluted by the strong acid that is sulfuric acid. Some of the negative impact already occurred in this lake, which is the pH of water was reduced drastically due to the acid spillage. Also, the aquatic life in this lake also died and it need to be treated. So, let's take some sample of this water. Now, I'm going to pass this sample to the next scientist.
First of all, put on a lab coat. Second, wear gloves for safety. These are the apparatus. First, take the alkali, pour it into a beaker, then pour it into a volumetric flask. Use distilled water to dilute the alkali inside the volumetric flask. Make sure it reaches the meniscus. After that, take a pipette and use it to take the diluted alkali in a fixed amount. Put the diluted alkali inside an aluminium flask. Once that's done, fill the burette with the acid. Make sure it is below and filled with indicator. Do it drop by drop until colors. Don't forget to wash the apparatus and throw out the gloves.
So in this project, you must conduct neutralization. But first, we need to know what is the concept of neutralization. So, what is meant by neutralization? It is a chemical reaction in which an acid and base quantitatively react with each other to form salt and water. And the product is harmless to wildlife. And then, what occurs during neutralization? In a neutralization, there is a combination of hydrogen and hydroxide ion which form water. So, the general word equation is acid react with base to form salt and water. In case you are wondering why we must conduct neutralization, it is because, as you all know, the lake is in an enclosed space with no current flow of water. So we can just add some strong bases to neutralize the strong acid in the lake. So that's all from me. I'll pass to the next presenter.
So to substitute the calcium oxide, I suggest that we use calcium carbonate CaCO3. And why do we use calcium carbonate? Well, it's because if we mix calcium carbonate with the acid, it will produce three products, which is calcium sulfate, water, and carbon dioxide. And water is technically safe to the environment. And as for calcium sulfate, as for your information, the pH of calcium sulfate is 7.7, which is close to that of pure water, so it's not harmful to the wildlife. And as for carbon dioxide, the incident happens near a place which is full of trees or green plants, and green plants will intend absorb the carbon dioxide produced and avoid and preventing pollution from happening there.
Hello, I'm here to discuss about a case that has been presented to us. There has been spillage of strong acid contaminating Aglo Lake. This was due to a train that has derailed, causing environmental damage to the lake. For example, the low pH balance of sulfuric acid brings harm to the aquatic life occupying the lake, not to mention that the spillage will cause Aglo Lake to be harmful to those who want to use it. Therefore, there are several objectives that needs to be completed to overcome this problem. First and foremost, the concentration of sulfuric acid contaminating Aglo Lake has to be identified. After the concentration of acid is known, a proper mitigation plan has to be devised to neutralize the acid. Titration process will be used to neutralize the acid using a strong base. Lastly, the proposal will be pitched to Pablo so that countermeasures can be taken immediately. That's all from me. Thank you.
Hi, so now we want to discuss about the data analysis that we collect from this case, which is we do the saturation between sodium hydroxide and sulfuric acid. So we do the 3-time the titration to get the accurate data. So next, we do the chemical equation, which is balance sodium hydroxide and sulfuric acid. So next, how do we find the average volume sodium hydroxide? We plus all the data before the 3 times that we do the data. So we plus it all and divide by 3. So we get the average one. So next, we find the mole of sodium hydroxide, which we find it referred for this formula, M equal to N over V. So we want to find the N moles. So N equal to M multiplies V. So we got the 4.545 exponent negative 3 of mole.
Okay, so next we're going to find the mole for sulfuric acid. So we're going to refer to the chemical equation. We know that the ratio between sodium hydroxide and sulfuric acid is 2:1. So to find the mole of sulfuric acid, we take the mole of sodium hydroxide and divide it by 2, and then the value that we will achieve is 2.273 exponent negative 3 mole. Next, we are going to find the molarity of diluted sulfuric acid. So we're going to use the previous formula, which is M equals to N over V. So we take the mole previously, 2.273 exponent negative 3 mole over 0.025 liter, which will equal to 0.091 molarity. Next, we have to find the concentration of sulfuric acid in the real sample. So the value that we received just now is the dilution of sulfuric acid by 10%. So with that value, we divide it by the 10% and it will equal to 0.910 molarity. Okay, so now to neutralize the lake, we're going to use calcium carbonate. But before that, we have to calculate the amount needed for the whole lake. So this is the chemical equation for calcium carbonate added with sulfuric acid from the lake, which will produce calcium sulfate, water, and carbon dioxide. So the volume of the lake given to us is 8.67 exponent 14 inches cubed. But to calculate the mass of calcium carbonate, we have to convert the inches to liter. So when we convert it, it will be 1.422 exponent 13 liter.
So next, we find the mole of the H2SO4, which is from the previous formula, and equal to MV. So this is M, this is V. So we get it 1.29 exponent 30. Then we compare a new mole for the CaCO3. So 1 mole H2SO4 compared with 1 mole CaCO3. So from this, and we got this one, 1.29 exponent 13 mole of CaCO3. Next.
Okay, now finally, to find the mass of calcium carbonate, we have to take the mole, which was 1.29 exponent 13 mole, and times it with the molar mass. So in this case, the molar mass is 100.0869 gram per mole, and the final mass to neutralize the lake is 1.29 exponent 15 grams. Thank you.
Can I please ask what this is? I see this data or an essay. It's too much for me to read. Seriously? I don't qualify this as data. Can you just explain to me one by one what you guys do? You start first.
I already took a polluted water sample from the agri lake. Now I'm going to pass this water sample to the next person in charge.
By using this sample, I've tested that the concentration of the acid is 0.917 molarity. And by using the balance equation, I know that the concentration of alkali needed to neutralize it is also 0.917 molarity. Now, I will send the data that I've obtained from the experiment online.
So the method used to solve this problem, the titration method is used, which applies the concept of neutralization.
After identifying the problem for this case, all objectives were successfully completed.
So then we do the titration for the 3 times to get the best result for the accurate data. Then we find the molarity of the H2SO4 in the aggregate lake, which is contained 0.910 molarity.
Finally, using the concentration of sulfuric acid found in the lake, mass of calcium carbonate required to neutralize the lake is 1.29 exponent 15 gram.
Bravo, bravo. Well, I never expect that you guys can solve the problem this quick. It's surprising to me, but you guys did it. Your idea is amazing, spectacular, it's everything. It's perfect, there's not even a slight disadvantage to it. Well, I hope that we can all work together in another time in the future.
So in this project, you must...
Done.
Hi, so
Ay, budak ni.
Sabar dia.
obtain habis cakap.
Jangan
Eh.